When you don't know who you are, you will be at the mercy of anyone who tries to tell you who and what they think you are. Who you are has nothing to do with your gender, your sex. It has nothing to do with your religion, your ethnicity, your creed, your height, your appearance of any sort. Who you are has nothing to do with your education, your credentials, or your career. It may be informed and influenced by those things to some extent, but it is not who you are at your core. See, those things may influence how you perceive yourself and how other people perceive and receive you, but they're not who you are at your core. Who you are at your core is determined by your character, your morals, your values. It's determined by what you do consistently every single day. Those are the things that shape who you are becoming, who you have become. I often meet people who believe that they are good people, and to some extent they may be, but their actions and their treatment of others, especially those who can do nothing to protect themselves or who are innocent, really determine and show who you are at your core. My name is Sarah Green. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and a mindset reprogrammer. And if you want to know more, please like, follow, share, comment below. When I was 4 years old, my mother wrote what she called a confession in my Bible. People call them affirmations now. I am now in my 40s, and I still say this confession almost every day. I have changed it since to align more with what I believe about myself and with who I desire to be and what I desire to cultivate internally. Now, while I won't tell you all of what the confession has in it, I will say this. It starts out with the words, I am. The words I am are followed by, I am a spirit being with a soul and a body. I was made very young to understand that I am a tripart being. I am first a spirit who has a soul, which is a spark of Source, God, the Most High, living inside of a body. My body is not who I am. My soul is the spark that lights up my spirit or gives energy to my spirit. And because I've grown up knowing this, I've seen the world very differently than many of my peers. From very young, I came to understand that everyone that I'm seeing, that I'm interacting with, myself included, is a spiritual being first and foremost. And so the physical aspect that we see with our physical 3D eyes is something that is only informed by our genetic code. Now, I didn't know the words genetic code at 4 years old, but I understood the concept. The thing is, we live in a world that attempts to dictate to us who and what we are, what we can be, what our peoples are. We live in a world that tells us that if you are such and such or from a certain ethnicity, because race doesn't even exist, it's a made-up concept. If you are a person who grew up with a certain religious background, if you are male, if you are female, if you are tall, if you are short, if you are big, if you are small, you can only be these things, you can only do so much. But I'm here to tell you that that's not so. You define who you are, but you also get a chance to discover who and what you are and what you came here to be, if you so choose to. You see, who you are at your core can change. It can start to morph and become something you don't even recognize. And it is dictated by the environment that you surround yourself with, the people with whom you align with. It is informed by our decisions every day, the music we listen to, the media we consume. It is informed by so many different things, and that is why it is very important to be careful and cautious about who we align with, what we align with. Once again, all those things, they shape the core of who we are, but they shouldn't determine it, because every human being in existence at their core are all the same. At our core, we are all love. However, the byproduct of being human is being influenced by different aspects of being here. And many of those aspects are not for our highest, most optimal benefit. And it's not until we begin to strip away parts of the facade, parts of the mask, parts of the costume that we all learn to wear over time, until we begin to build up our self-image and build up the knowledge of who we really are at our core. It's not until we do the work that we start to step fully into all of who we are and unfold. Nobody is perfect. No one's life is perfect, contrary to what it may appear to be. So it's not about comparing yourself to anyone else. It's about getting back to the core of who you are. And from there, shaping yourself into who you desire to be. The version of yourself that you are most proud of. So that when it is your time to transition from this realm, as it will be all of our times, you are so proud that you've become you. It's like coming home. It's the feeling of, oh yeah, I remember her. I remember him. I remember them. When you come to that point, there's nothing like it. So the more deeply you know yourself at your core, the less vulnerable you are to becoming someone else's definition of who they think you should be. All right, guys. Remember, as always, you got this, and you're not alone.